Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are doing a special video about the top 10 stadiums in the Pokémon Trading Card Game. Now, for those of you that are new to the game, stadium cards, you can have one in play at any time, and it will affect both players. Mostly equally, but there are some that do different things to each side of the field. Now, some honourable mentions that did not make the top 10 list. First of all, Faded Town. Put 2 damage counters on Mega Pokemon between turns. It looked like it was going to see some play with Giratina, using Chaos Wheel to keep it in play while the Mega Pokemon take 2 damage counters. It saw a bit of play, but not enough to get it on the list. Also, Chaos Tower. Now, I like Chaos Tower. It's got 2 sides. It's one of these double-sided stadium cards. And one side basically says that you cannot be asleep or paralyzed. And the other side says that you cannot be confused or poisoned. Fun little card, really good if you're worried about a particular special condition, but not enough play to get on the list. So in at number 10, Team Magma's Secret Base. Team Magma's Secret Base says that any non-Team Magma Pokemon you put on the field takes 2 damage counters. Sounds like fun. Well, not if you're taking damage counters. But fun if you're not, unless you're playing Gyarados. Now, this could have been used just to do extra damage, but the real hype this saw was in Gyarados. You play down your Magikarp, you take 2 damage counters, and then you use Ancient Origins Gyarados to do 30 damage for each damage counter on each of your Magikarp. 3 Magikarp on the bench, 6 damage counters, 180, plus 30 bases, 210. It's low down the list because it only ever really saw play in Gyarados, but oh my goodness, it was good. In at number 9, you could argue it's a little bit low. I might get flamed for this, but I'm putting Shrine of Memories. And it's because it didn't see a huge amount of play in a lot of stuff. It allows you to use attacks from your Pokemon's pre-evolutions. Now, this was used a little bit in Primal Groudon, so you can use Groudon's attack for just 2 energy. Save you having to get 4 out for the Primal. But really here, the big use was in Mega Mewtwo decks. So you could use this Mewtwo and use damage chain, so if they didn't get a one-hit KO, you could just swap damage counters with them. Most of the time you don't want to use the pre-evolutions attack, but there are certain times you do, and that's why Shrine of Memories comes in at number 9. In at number 8, Reverse Valley. Now, this is another one of these 2-sided stadiums. One side says that Dark Pokemon do 10 more damage. The other side says that Metal Pokemon take 10 less damage. Now, the most play this really saw was in Darkrai and Yveltal decks, allowing you to do an extra 10 damage. Sometimes this could be the difference. But it could have seen play in stuff like Scizor decks or Genesect decks, and it's one of those any Dark and any Metal deck that's ever released, until this card is rotated and no longer legal for tournament play, needs to take a real good look at whether Reverse Valley is a stadium they want to play. And when 2 entire types have to sit there and think, ooh, this card could be for me, it's deserving of a spot at number 8. In at number 7, Scorched Earth. Now, this has mostly seen play in stuff like Volcanion and Primal Groudon decks, and it allows you to discard a fire or fighting energy from your hand and draw 2 cards. It is a consistency crutch. It allows you to draw more cards so you can set up faster. And there's been so many games won because one player just set up faster than the other, that being able to draw extra cards and set up faster really does give you a huge advantage. We've even seen some players, like Seb Simmons in his Mega Rayquaza deck, actually playing a random fire energy just for things like this. Oh, well, if my opponent's playing Scorched Earth and I draw into my fire energy, I can get a couple of extra cards, and then of course, because I'm playing a Mega deck, I can reattach it with Mega Turbo. Could be fun. It's not used in every deck, but it's got enough uses in enough decks that I think we can safely put it in at number 7. And in at number 6, Fairy Garden. Now, Fairy Garden gives you free retreat when you've got fairy energy attached. But don't forget that Rainbow Energy, when attached, counts as every type, including Fairy. And don't forget that Double Dragon Energy counts as every type, including Fairy. Now, it's largely seen play in decks like Xerneas and Gardevoir, that are naturally playing Fairy Energy anyway, but it's really been teched into a whole bunch of different decks while it's been legal. I've seen Giratina decks play this to give them the free retreat. I've seen a whole bunch of decks take advantage of this, which is why it gets in at number 6. And then there's a gap. I think the top 5 are the top 5 here. I have literally sat down and had a good look at every stadium that's legal, and I should point out I am only looking at stadiums which are legal in the standard format, that's Primal Clash onwards. And I think these next 5 are the top 5. Quibble about the order if you like, but I think these are the top 5. In at number 5, Rough Seas. Heal 30 damage from all of your water and lightning Pokemon. And quite simply, it has made decks viable. Mega Manectric, so much better because of this. Quad Raikou, so much better because of this. Greninja, so much better because of this. At the recent Malmo Regional Championship, Carl Peters made top 4 of a Quad Lapras deck. He's worried about the Decidueye GX and his Feather Arrow, but of course, when you're healing 30 damage from all of your Lapras every turn, Feather Arrow doesn't seem quite so intimidating. It has helped a great number of decks be viable. It gets in at number 5. And very similarly in at number 4, Skyfield. It has made decks viable. It lets you have a bench of 8 Pokemon rather than 5. Mega Rayquaza was the first deck to really take advantage of this. Allows you to hit for 240 rather than 150. But we saw Raichu, that does more damage for all your bench Pokemon, taking advantage of this. We've seen Mega Gardevoir, that allows you to discard each of your bench and do an extra 10 for each that you discard, taking advantage of this. We've seen it in decks like Volcanion and Persimmon that just want a whole bunch of bench Pokemon for the deck to be able to work. And it's like I said a minute ago with Rough Seas. It has allowed a number of very good decks to be viable. That's why it gets up so high. It's not just that it's used in decks, it's that it's used in good decks that wouldn't be anywhere near as good without it. That's why it gets in at number 4. In at number 3, Silent Lab. And Silent Lab's a weird one, because we rarely see decks that just play 3 or 4 Silent Lab and no other stadiums. But we often see decks like Darkrai, Yveltal, pretty much anything, that will just play a single Silent Lab or 2 Silent Lab. It turns off the abilities of basic Pokemon. So it means that there's no Shaman or Hooper abilities, which is good. But it also means things like Volcanion, that really rely on the ability of the basic Volcanion EX, don't get to use it. Decks like Mega Gardevoir that rely on Hooper and Shaman and also Dragonite to recycle all their Pokemon, discard with Mega Gardevoir and then get back, they don't work either. And we see Silent Lab, there was a game in which Jack Old was playing Gardevoir at Sheffield Regional Championships. It was on the official stream. And one Silent Lab just shut his deck down and won the game for his opponent. Silent Lab is not a 4 of in every deck, but it's so good against so many decks, I've got to put it at number 3. In at number 2, and I would not be mad at you if you put this at number 1, but I'm putting it at number 2, Parallel City. The third and final one of our 2-sided stadiums. One side means that you do 20 less damage with grass, fire or water, and the other side says you can only have 3 benched Pokemon. So this is a disruption card, but you can disrupt in 2 different ways. Now, if you're reducing the amount of damage done, grass is good against things like Vespiquen, fire is good against things like Volcanion, water's good against things like Greninja or more recently Lapras. You can reduce the amount of energy being done, that's good. But reducing their bench? Now, firstly, this works against any deck because fewer bench spaces is just awkward. It means that you haven't got space to play all of your Shaymins and Hoopers and your Garbodor and your attackers. But against decks like Raichu, like Rayquaza, that really want to be using Skyfield, Parallel City's just mean. And I think it's only fitting that Parallel City should be higher than Skyfield on this list because it counters it. Although to be clear, it's higher because it's a better card. It's just nice that it counters it. And in at number 1, Forest of Giant Plants. Forest of Giant Plants gets the number 1 spot because it's basically broken the game. It's like the old card Broken Time Space, but it only works for grass Pokemon. And what it allows you to do is evolve your grass Pokemon whenever you feel like it. This is just downright unfair. And it's not just that we've had Forest of Giant Plants, but we've now got something like Vileplume. Vileplume blocks item cards. You go first, Forest of Giant Plants, you can evolve straight up into Vileplume on the first turn of the game, and then your opponent doesn't have items for the entire game. We've got Decidueye. You evolve up into Decidueye, you can attack on turn 1, but you can use Feather Arrow. And you could conceivably use 3 Feather Arrows on turn 1 and KO alone, Fomantis with 60 HP. It brings Donking, winning before your opponent even has a turn, back into the game in a real way. And Vileplume and Decidueye are just 2 examples. There may well be more coming in the future. Forest of Giant Plants makes broken decks that wreck the game. And that's why it gets in at number 1. Now, the good news is there is a comment section, so go nuts, go arguing. But you know what I always say with my top 10 videos? Hopefully you do anyway. If you're going to tell me my top 10's wrong, give me your own top 10. Don't just give me a card that you want to put higher. Give me the card you would put down. You can't just say these 3 cards need to be moved up, because if you're going to move 3 cards up, you've got to move 3 cards down. That's the way it works. Now, I am on my honeymoon at the moment as I upload this, so I'm not going to be answering that many comments, but you never know, I might be able to mention 1 or 2. Give a couple of replies. Get arguing in the comment section. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel, and make sure that you look after yourselves until next time. Oh, and follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.